All right, Kurtz, before we get you out of here, we got a couple of minutes. We've got our daily clip from the Pharrell Show. They had Dominic Raiola on today. It was actually pretty cool. The Canucks scored to make it 2-1. Then right away, St. Louis scored. And Vancouver have come so close a couple of times since. Besser missed like an open net. Normally buries that. Garland nearly just scored right now. The Canucks are buzzing around. We got them to win the game. We took them plus 1.5 as well. So let's at least try to get back within a goal here. But the Canucks are swarming right now. So a lot of stuff to get to. Kurtz, what's your take on Harbaugh? How does this change the Chargers in your opinion? Are you buying in? Are you all in on the Chargers now?
No. I think they have some interesting players, and I guess he chose there because he has the quarterback. But I think if he had a choice between Atlanta and the Chargers, you can make a pretty good argument. You should have chose Atlanta. You got the running back, you got a tight end, you got a wide receiver, you can get a quarterback, and you play in a much weaker division. You're playing with Patrick Mahomes here. I mean, always goes to the championship game there. So, listen, there's work to be done. Is he better than Staley? Absolutely. So they'll be better. Do I think they're, oh, my God, Chargers next year? No, there's work to be done there. I think they're a better team with Harbaugh. A little surprised he went there. I would have thought Atlanta was going to be the choice, but maybe he wants to be out there in L.A. And, hey, the Chargers do play Baltimore next year, so that should be fun.
And if Baltimore wins the Super Bowl, it'll no doubt be the first game of the year on Thursday Night Football. Open up the season.
I was thinking
with a battle of the Harbaughs.
Night, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, Thanksgiving's all right, but no, what better way to open up the season? But one thing with Harbaugh going to the Chargers, and I think, listen, Harbaugh's been successful everywhere he's been. So I don't think he's going to be some sort of bust or anything like that. But he signed a 5-year deal. All right? It's not going to happen overnight here. Like, he can't win with it's not like, oh, Harbaugh's here, we're going to win with the team that we have right now. They're not very good. Shout out to everyone joining us on SiriusXM Channel 159. Harbaugh takes over a Chargers team that owes Khalil Mack $38 million this year. Joey Bosa's making $36 million this year. Keenan Allen's making $34 million this year. Mike Williams, this salary cap hits, we should know, $32 million. J.C. Jackson, $20 million. Derwin James, $19 million. George Kurtz just said the Atlanta Falcon job is a more attractive one. A hell of a lot more attractive. This roster is old, injured, depleted, soft, beat up. There's not a lot to like about it. So good for you. You've got Justin Herbert. You're playing in a tough division, in a tough conference. There's not a lot to love, but he likes the Chargers. He played for the Chargers. And as I stated, he's got a 5-year contract. It took him 9 years to win the championship with Michigan, right? Like it was a build-up process here. So it'll be a build-up process. The Chargers have the 5th overall pick in the draft coming up this year. So it'll be fascinating to see what they do here. All right, so today I was on with Carver on the Pharrell Show, and they had a great guest that followed me to make up for me being on, the great Dominic Raiola. Of course, stud Nebraska Cornhusker legend, Detroit Lion legend. There's the goal the Canucks just scored. I told you it was coming. Boom, 3-2. But here's Dominic Raiola on the Detroit Lions. His Detroit Lions taking on the Niners.
You know what it's like in Detroit with football. 14 years there. Down times, that fan base, very passionate, haven't had much to cheer about. It's got to make you feel good seeing that city and those fans have this run, have this moment. Dan Campbell leading the charge. It's got to be fun watching Lion football here, Dominic.
It's fun all around, just knowing I spent pretty much half my adult life in Michigan, in Detroit, spent my whole career there. But I know I played with Dan. It's even better watching the guy that's leading the charge. Just knowing the kind of person he is and knowing how passionate he is and knowing what kind of man he is and what he represents. And he represents everything right. And if you ever been to the Motor City, it's tough, it's grit, and that's exactly who Dan Campbell is.
Man, it almost seems like it's a dream. It's improbable that the Detroit Lions are actually in the NFC Conference Championship game this week, considering where they were in the past. So, George, I got about a minute and a half with you left here. What's your pick here for the Lions and the Niners? Your final answer.
Final answer really is not the game that I find about Deebo Samuel, but I don't know how effective he's going to play if he does. The numbers for San Fran without Deebo are not good. They're actually pretty damn poor. Purdy does not play as well without him. I'm going to go with the Lions here. I think they lose the game but cover the spread here. I think they'll keep it close there. But like I said, Deebo is polarizing figure for me. If he plays, I could easily change my mind here. But right now, you're asking me, Detroit covers but loses.
And Baltimore and Kansas City?
I think Kansas City's time's run out. It doesn't look like Thuney's going to play here with the pec injury there. Andrews is going to play. Marlon Humphrey is going to play. I like the Ravens here a lot. I think the Chiefs sort of had their Super Bowl against Josh Allen and the Bills last week. You won. Good for you. I think it ends this week. I like the Ravens to cover.
Great stuff, George. Always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us.
Be good, everybody.
There's George Kurtz kicking with us. The Golden State Warriors are up right now by double digits. We'll welcome our AM radio affiliate momentarily. Then Ian Cameron is going to join us. It's a Babano night tonight on the Wicked Wednesday. 3-2 St. Louis over Vancouver right now, 12 minutes remaining.
Upload just tied it too, Gabe.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. The pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. Good news, bad news. First off, shout out to everybody joining us in Southern California, the new home of Jim Harbaugh. What up? The 50,000-watt juggernaut, the Mighty 1090 ESPN Radio in the house. Level 3 has begun. This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Cam Stewart will rejoin us in a couple of minutes. We got Ian Cameron, a.k.a. Babano, going to join us. We'll hit some in-game live numbers tonight. We'll take a look at the football games this week. We'll get Babano's picks. We'll take a look at Thursday night's card across the board, college basketball, NHL, NBA as well. We had a Rookie of the Year candidate showdown tonight in the association, but obviously we start off good news, bad news for everybody that is sick of hearing about what's going to happen with Jim Harbaugh. The story has a conclusion, and the conclusion is Jim Harbaugh is a new coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, a 5-year deal, and Harbaugh is back in the National Football League. It should be noted the Chargers had the 5th pick in the draft as well. But this is a football team that Harbaugh will not be able to wave a magic wand. I know that Brandon Staley was an easy target, and Brandon Staley had a lot of dubious decisions and moves that he made over the years. But let's be real. When you look at this Chargers roster, there's work to be done. They're in financial hell right now. All right, it's like they bought some bad crypto. They've got a lot of bad contracts that they need to deal with here. Khalil Mack is owed $38 million on the salary cap. Bosa's worth $36 million on the salary cap. Keenan Allen's worth $34 million on the salary cap. Mike Williams is worth $32. J.C. Jackson's worth $20. Derwin James is worth $20 on the cap. This is not the team that Harbaugh is going to win with in Los Angeles. Is Harbaugh good enough to get these guys into the playoffs? Probably, yes. But, I think Harbaugh's looking at the big picture here. And I think, he's got a 5-year contract. 5 years is a long time. I would expect, success with the Chargers in, 3 years.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Some refer to him as a game manager, Mark. I mean, throwing for over 250 yards in divisional round, 39 attempts. I don't know if that really chalks up to being a game manager. He was kind of throwing it around with 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Pretty efficient.
Whatever we saw from Jared Goff in 2 home playoff games, I would expect something dynamically different from what we're going to see from him on the road. That's just the way it's been his entire career. His home road splits have always been pretty dynamic.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy,
The early line,
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell, coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time decisions.
I have no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
prime time.
Yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
SportsRage
That was
late
good
night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Did like the 2.5. Jumped on.
There's no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Man, what a crazy week. What a wild week of action on the field, on the court, the ice, off, everything else in between. All these isolated stories will be massive in their own right. It feels like it was like 2 years ago that Nick Saban retired. It's like, what? Nick Saban? And Patrick was back in the NHL. Like Harbaugh's back in the NFL right now. I'm expecting that Belichick will be next, and it'll be Atlanta. And just as quickly as far, we talked about this last night on the show. Remember Harbaugh had like a second interview up with Atlanta as well. And there was reports out of Atlanta that the football people in the building, not the players, but the executives and the people that run the franchise wanted Harbaugh. Like they were all in on bringing Harbaugh into Atlanta. And I think it's a better job than LA, although I understand the attractiveness of the Charger job in certain instances. But that Arthur Blank is dead set on Bill Belichick. I know they're interviewing Vrabel as well. Maybe Harbaugh, Vrabel, Blank not his guy, but dude, Blank lost the Super Bowl to Belichick. All these old owners like worship Belichick, right? So he's going to see, oh my God, this is so much credibility. I get the feeling Vrabel will end up in Carolina and that Belichick is going to end up in Atlanta, but a lot of smart people that report on this stuff said it's imminent over the weekend that Belichick was going to be in Atlanta, and it hasn't happened yet. And now they interviewed Vrabel today. So whatever, but man, what a crazy week. Let's bring in Ian Cameron right now, a.k.a. Babano. Good to see you, Babano. Let me just say one thing. The Chargers are 30-1 to win the Super Bowl, so nobody's expecting some sort of overnight magic wand. But I was curious, and I just looked, and I'm like, what about Michigan's numbers? Michigan were 10-1 to repeat, and it's like, all right, Harbaugh's not there. The media and people online, everyone's going to transfer and stuff. I'll throw it to you first, Babano, on this. The odds makers have not moved Michigan's numbers at all. And we know the odds makers aren't sleeping. They know Harbaugh's gone. Michigan remain 10-1 right now. And I think the fact that Sharon Moore beat Ohio State and beat Penn State, and they went 6-0 without Harbaugh last year, is not scaring people as much as something like Nick Saban leaving Alabama, Babano.
I think there's a bunch of factors as to why Michigan is probably not moving as far as their futures price is concerned, because the Big Ten we know is not very good this year. It's not like a retooled Michigan missing a lot of the pieces from this year's championship team is suddenly going to be out of the mix in the Big Ten. When there's question marks about Ohio State, there's always question marks about Penn State because they can never win a big game.
There's no questions about Ohio State. Like, there's none.
No.
Let's just be real.
They're loading up hard.
They are.
I mean, they got Alabama. They got the number one quarterback prospect in the country. They got the number one SEC defensive freshman of the year, Caleb Downs from Alabama. They stole Mississippi's running back in Junkins. They got an A&M wide receiver. You know, Cam, Lane Kiffin was bitching today about Ohio State, of all people. And
yeah, that's great.
he basically
That's
said,
great.
he said, oh, they better be good because they're over $13 million in players right now. So that's what they've spent so far, $13 million. I think it's a little bit more. So, yeah, Ohio State ain't playing around with Beno.
No, and I know they're going to be good. But I still, you know, when you look at Ohio State, though, there's been that stumbling block every year. Like on paper, that roster is going to be very good. There's no question about that. But Penn State's got questions. I know the USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington are coming in. Oregon is obviously going to be formidable. Washington, of course, even with the change there, you're going to see them probably still be good. I think for Michigan, they can compete in that conference. They can be in the mix in that Big Ten conference, especially when you're hearing the fact that Sharon Moore, the offensive coordinator, did a great job taking over for Jim Harbaugh when he was suspended. You know, they didn't skip a beat with Sharon Moore taking over, that they are eyeing him to be the next head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, that he's probably the top candidate right now. So I don't think they'd skip a beat coaching-wise. I think Moore showed he can do a very capable job. So I'm not totally as shocked as you, Gabe, that Michigan's price with Harbaugh gone hasn't moved as much. I think they're in the mix. I think they're a factor still in the Big Ten next year.
Well, they're the defending national champions. Obviously, they're they're not going to disappear. I mean, they're still a badass team. They did lose half their team to the NFL, but for the record, they had like the 13th rated recruiting class, which is pretty good. Like you think, oh, that's not great, but it's if you look at the schools, whatever, like they're right next to Notre Dame and Tennessee and whatever, and all these. You know what I mean? It's all about coaching after. But just for the record, the update. I hear what you're saying, Babano. One thing about the Big Ten, even with the additions, and I'll disagree. I think Washington are screwed. Washington are not going to be very good, right? Like, they just lost too much. They had Penix and Dunze. I get it. Fish is a good coach, but they're going to the Big Ten.
I really like Fish. I really, really do. What a job he did at Arizona. But this will be a Big Ten.
But now he's in a Big Ten. It's different. Yep. Oregon, I buy in, though. I believe you as far as Oregon. I agree. I think Oregon will fit right in. They'll be fine. Yeah. But just looking ahead to next year, Georgia are the favorites at plus 325, which I could buy into. Ohio State are the second choice at 6-1. It should be noted, Michigan play at Ohio State next year. Texas are the third choice. They're another one. They're going to be freaking loaded again. They're not playing around the Longhorns. They're going to be back in this thing. Michigan are 10-1. I hate to say it, but Ohio State are better than Michigan are right now, at least from a roster perspective. But you know what, Cam? It's a 12-team playoff now, so.
Yep. No,
Michigan will get in the playoffs as long as they're 10-2. Point blank. You lose two games, they're still in the playoffs.
You're right about Ohio State. They're going to find a way, but I know it's just bowl season, but I like this school because they always
you're not going back to K-State in your boy, are you?
Yeah. I'm going back to K-State. I'm a Wildcat. Oh, I like that quarterback they bring in. That guy, he looks like Dave Mustaine.
No, in a 12-team playoff, Cam. And don't forget, Texas and Oklahoma are out of the way now in the Big 12. K-State can step up.
The thing about K-State is they got players to stick around, too, and the good offensive line.
You're right.
I'm just saying if you're looking for a flyer. I'm not
laughing at your pick. I just knew you were going to bring this damn kid up again.
I love him. I don't know why. He played great. Gabe, and that was the first bowl game and stuff. He's only going to get better in that conference. I'm a big fan. Big fan.
Where the hell are they? I'm looking. I'm not used to looking this low, Cam. I'm scrolling. It's like one of your golf picks.
Oh, there they are. Dion. In Colorado,
66-1. I like that pick. I can't lie. 66-1 on K-State, bro. Dude, there's 12 teams in the playoffs, man. Dude. If they lose one game only, they win the Big 12. They're going to get in. Point blank, they're in.
Next break, I'm going to be hitting some buttons.
Longer shots, having a chance.
Yes, Babano.
Some buttons.
Yeah. But not like the stupid long shots. Like not like Liberty or Tulane and stuff. Like they're going to get in. You know what I mean? Like the American
Power 5 long shots.
Exactly. Like the teams like Mississippi, Penn State, Kansas State. You know what I mean, Cam? These teams are always sort of blocked by losing to the rival. Like Penn State, Penn State go 10-2 every year. 10-2 will get them into the playoffs now. They'll be like, well, Penn State's 10-2. They're going to get in, right? Like
the playoffs, I don't care who they play, they're going to find a way to lose. Like, I've watched Franklin in big games. Like, that's a team. I'd almost rather take a chance with like some other like long shot game. That's the one thing I learned about Penn State. Like,
they
when
could
play
choke next year too. They have a tough schedule too. Like,
they'll find a way to screw it up. Yeah, that's what I think.
I agree.
You have a long shot team about it. I'm looking here. Listen, Michigan at 10-1 is not a stupid bet. At 10-1,
No,
you're getting. You know what I mean? It's a pretty good number.
Mm-hmm.
But looking a little bit deeper here, you know, for me, guys, I'm going to say Missouri at 50-1.
I like Missouri.
And I don't think,
That's
you know,
good.
Babano, I'm not saying that Missouri goes 15-0 and they run the table. At 50-1, don't tell me they can't make the playoffs, bro. And then I got a nice hedge. Like, seriously.
Yep.
Dude, they only lost 2 games this year, guys. In the last minute to LSU, we all remember that game. It was a wild track meet, and they lost at the end. And they gave Georgia all they can handle 2 years in a row, Cam. They played like Georgia within a touchdown 2 years in a row. And the cook is back, and Luther Burden III is back. Like, they're going to be good. Like next year.
Agree.
Missouri, like 50-1. That's not a bad play.
Great fight.
For a hedge, you know what I'm saying?
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Some refer to him as a game manager, Mark. I mean, throwing for over 250 yards in the divisional round, 39 attempts. I don't know if that really chalks up to being a game manager. He was kind of throwing it around with 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Pretty efficient.
Whatever we saw from Jared Goff in 2 home playoff games, I would expect something dynamically different from what we're going to see from him on the road. That's just the way it's been his entire career. His home road splits have always been pretty dynamic.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The early line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
You have
decisions.
no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live. Prime time.
Yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
SportsRage
That was
late
competitive.
night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid
We did.
information. Did like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I am Gabriel Morency. All right, we could talk college football all night, but there's other stuff, obviously, we've got to get to. I am just fascinated by these odds. Fun looking at some of these long shots, especially with his new playoff format, man. Like, just things are just so different now. But speaking of games going on right now, the NHL, Vancouver Canucks and the St. Louis Blues. We've had a fun one here. The Blues, big under. The Canucks were like minus 200. Oh, my God, the Canucks nearly just scored. There's 2 minutes left. They're losing 3-2. Vancouver's down a goal. We're on the Canucks to win the game, but we jumped in on plus 1.5. I'll take it if we can just get the 1.5, but I'd really be happy if they can tie this game. And they're buzzing around the net right now in the power play with under 2 minutes remaining. They keep on missing chances that they normally would bury. And the L.A. Kings, we've spent some time talking about the L.A. Kings this week. They're now tied at 3 with the. I didn't trust them tonight. I've told you I'm done with this team. They're losers.
Well, we talked about it. You have a 3-1 lead at home, coming off a loss versus S.J. Sharkey, and you let the Sabres score a couple goals in basically a minute apart. But Bano, this Kings team, I don't know what the hell's going on here, but we've hit.
They're going to get their coach fired. That's what's going on.
They're all big time. Their heads are going to roll soon. You can't keep this up. They were one of the Stanley Cup favorites.
This is a big-time underachieving run.
He scored after getting called out by McClellan after the San Jose loss. At least he scored one of their goals.
Yeah. 3-3 right now against Buffalo.
That's
Don't
not
tell
good.
me you're on them, Cam. Are you sweating this out? You are, aren't you?
I didn't realize, Gabe, I actually put a parlay together, and I have Carolina. All these good things have happened. I do have the Kings.
You always bet on Buffalo, but you didn't tonight.
Not tonight.
I have the draw. I have the draw. I love a 3-3 in overtime.
I'm going to have nightmares in my sleep. Buffalo. I'm just come on. Don't do it to me, Buffalo.
The ghosts of Ryan Blessing, Cam. They're haunting you.
Yeah.
They're haunting you.
They might. That parlay.
I can't believe that the Canucks could be the ones to screw us, too. This is what's frustrating.
Yeah.
No.
They might tie this, though. They're really coming close. We'll see if they can finish this up, but it's hard to criticize the Canucks. They win just so much. So crazy stuff. Harbaugh's back in the National Football League, but we got games going on this week. And I was talking about the Detroit Lions, indoors, outdoors, really telling numbers. 11 of their last 12 games have been indoors, but they score 30 points a game when they play indoors and 17 points a game when they play outdoors. And that wasn't even in bad weather. That was just sort of, outdoors. This game is outdoors, Babano. The Lions, 1-1 against the point spread in the playoffs. Let's just, throw it all the sentimental and, Lions. And let's just look at this from a playoff betting perspective. They were laying 3.5 against the Rams. They won by 1. They covered. They win by 8. They were up by 8 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Bucs went for 2 and stuff. That was pretty funky at the end, guys? They would have covered, Cam, if they would have got the 2. That's what's crazy.
It came down to that play.
Yeah, they would have covered by the hook. It's unbelievable.
Everyone on Detroit, they nearly didn't cover again. But they're 1-1 ATS, and San Francisco got all they can handle from the Packers last week. What are you looking at this week, Babano, for this matchup? Who do you like?
Well, I like that both of these matchups in the conference championships, they're fresh matchups, okay? We haven't seen these teams play each other this year. That's really good. It keeps things interesting, unique. It's a great matchup. I really think that Detroit has got it in them to give San Francisco a tough game, and especially if Deebo Samuel doesn't play. I don't like just overreacting.
Sorry, Babano, but it's worth interrupting. The Vancouver Canucks have tied the game.
What do I do
here?
There
you go.
I don't care.
3-3.
No, honestly, Bryce, I got these
51 seconds left, baby. What a team. Let's go.
Oh, you know what?
They haven't won yet, but we got that goal and a half. They haven't won a game yet, Cam. Let's go.
Funny. You said this, and just quickly, we'll get to football is the number one thing, but you said that division, the Blues are you saw the other game against the Flames, these things are that you said it, that division and these teams, they're just you want to put your heart in your throat, bet a St. Louis Blues game. That
Did he score again? That Pius Suter? I think Pius Suter scored again. I think he got all 3 goals for them tonight.
Yeah. Guy's good.
The puck was bound. Hughes shot the puck. You know what? That's just sort of hard work and luck, everything else in between. You're right. Hughes hit the goalpost. He hit the post and the puck bounced into the crease.
He's the second
Pius
choice
Suter's
for the year at 4-1. And the funny thing is, Bedard's minus 70, but he's hurt. if this guy keeps this up, the thing is, Bedard's so popular. Anyway, we'll talk about this later, but it's a talking point. I think it's something we have to go over.
I hate shootouts, though. I never win shootouts. We'll see what happens if it even goes to a shootout here.
Even overtime can be dangerous when we.
And you know what's funny?
3-3.
I have the draw in the Buffalo game. It's 3-3. Alex B. Smith, my colleague on the Ice Guys, has the draw in this St. Louis game with Vancouver. So he's about to cash that.
Wasn't the closing total 6-2? There's still hats on the ice while they're playing here. It wasn't a total 6. So this game's going to go over the number, too. Squeezes over the number. Well, it would have anyways at 6.5, but it was 6. Yeah. So, man, I told you guys earlier. I said it earlier, Cam. If you remember that I like these blue metallic helmets they're wearing. I knew it would bring good luck.
You're too much. You're too much.
Yeah, they win this game. They win this game. The helmets are good.
The girls are wearing the old Jofas the way I used to wear it. These helmets suck. They're great helmets. What a comeback.
No, you know what? These Canuck helmets, I actually don't like the King silver one. I don't like the gold ones, the Knights. Yeah. These blue ones actually do look good. I'm just saying, you're 32-11. I don't know if we need to start changing the uniform. Let's just sort of keep things like going the way that they are. Sort of like with the Raptors when they started wearing the Drake stuff. It's like, how about
and here come the hats for Suter. Yep.
Yeah, some jackass they started throwing hats on the ice when the play was going on after.
I know. It's like, calm down, guys. Yeah.
They smoke a lot of weed in Vancouver. I think they didn't realize at first. Oh, you got a hat trick. They reacted like a minute later.
Like, what?
Like, oh, yeah. It's got a hat trick.
3, Jerry? Oh, yeah, 3. Give me your toque.
A couple 20,000 stopped at the local dispensary before the game, apparently.
Canuck games actually are it's a different atmosphere than like a lot of other. It's not like Toronto. Basically, you've got people smoking weed because it's legal. They're just smoking weed outside as they walk in. There's a lot of people that are really drunk. You've got a little pocket of like nut job, old school sort of hockey guys that are yelling at everybody. It's a motley crew. It's a fun atmosphere. It's like it feels like it's the 80s or something. You're like, wow, it's like the 80s in here. They're playing Loverboy Cam and stuff. You know what I mean? And Kiss.
I love it. It's so cool. And James was partying with, we were in the party section. It's like that movie Dazed and Confused, man. I'm like, games are wild. Like a concert. It was wicked.
There's a few businessmen, but not really. It's mostly people that are partying and lit. There's dudes with Trevor Linden jerseys drinking beer and stuff. Hey.
The problem with Toronto is the businessmen, or as you say, the Bay Street bootlickers, they're uptight. The Vancouver businessmen can once in a while loosen the tie.
The Vancouver businessmen don't go. They don't go to the games.
That's even better.
No, it's true. It's like sports in Vancouver. It's like beneath them. They're like, what? I got a Ferrari. I'm going to my yacht here. I'm not going to you know what I mean? Like it's not the same scene. So that's what makes it cool. You get a bunch of beer drinking, pot smoking hockey fans that are going to these games. So 3-3, we're in OT right
Simple
now.
Minds is their goal song too. Don't you forget about me.
Yeah. I'm not overly.
They got to lose that. No, I got to be honest. Simple Minds is your goal.
No, it's better than Hall & Oates.
Yeah, the Leafs changed it, but it still reeks. They actually have songs on rotation now. It blows. And anyway.
All right, so I was talking about the Detroit Lions being outdoors. 30 points a game indoors, 17 points a game outdoors. Jared Goff, 0-5, last 5 games against the San Francisco 49ers. Of course, he was on the Rams. And the Detroit Lions have not beaten this. How about this one, Babano? The Lions haven't won in San Francisco on the road since 1975.
Wow. That's a long time ago. What, 49 years? 49 years ago. Wow. I'm trying to do the math. 49 years ago that they lost, or the last time they won in San Francisco. I go back to what I was saying before Vancouver tied the game. Samuel being out, if he's out. Here's the difference. San Francisco's offense with him on the field averaged over 7 yards per play. Without him, they averaged 5.7 yards per. There was a difference. There was a noticeable difference in the Niners' offensive production without him. And even when he went out of the game against Green Bay, you could tell that offense was a little bit out of sync. Look, don't get me wrong. I expect San Francisco to play a lot better. here in this game. I think the Green Bay game, they know they didn't play anywhere close to their best. They know they got away with one.
Just won.
5, they advanced. Yeah. Blues just won. Oh, there we go. Blues in OT. But, they got away with one against Green Bay, but good teams don't bring their A game and still win. That's a good thing for San Francisco. I do think they'll play a lot better here in this game. But the thing that bothers me about San Francisco is last week against Green Bay, their offense was out of sync, and their defense has issues. I have not liked the trajectory of the 49ers defense late in the season. I'm seeing the pass rush isn't there. I'm seeing the secondary take defensive holding penalties, pass interference penalties, giving up big plays in the passing game. And everyone all week's going to talk about the weapons that San Francisco has if Samuel plays to go with Ayuk and Kittle and the running backs. What about Detroit? It's not like they have chopped liver. They've got Gibbs and Montgomery. They've got Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. They've got good weapons. Josh Reynolds is stepping up. They have weapons too. And I think they can match San Francisco. I actually like the over if the weather's not too bad in this game. It's a high total, but I think San Francisco's offense will be a lot more in sync. They'll be better, but I don't know if San Francisco is going to slow down Detroit for 60 minutes. So I like this game over the total.
That Lions
All right,
secondary.
we're coming up against the break.
Yeah.
As I was saying, those stupid metallic helmets. Bad luck.
Yeah,
Bad luck, those helmets.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Some refer to him as a game manager, Mark. I mean, throwing for over 250 yards in divisional round, 39 attempts. I don't know if that really chalks up to being a game manager. He was kind of throwing it around with 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Pretty efficient.
Whatever we saw from Jared Goff in 2 home playoff games, I would expect something dynamically different from what we're going to see from him on the road. That's just the way it's been his entire career. His home road splits have always been pretty dynamic.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The early line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
You have
decisions.
no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
SportsRage
That was
late
good betting.
night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid.
We did.
Patient, did like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is Sports Rage. Man, this show's gone by quickly. This evening, there's so much going on, including the Australian Open. This tournament is winding down as we've got Coco Gauff and Sabalenka going head-to-head. This starts at, 12:30 Pacific, 3:30 Eastern time. Some overnight Australian action. Cam, Sabalenka right now is minus 225. Gauff beat her before, obviously. She's minus 225. Gauff is plus 175. And Zhang is minus 225.
That's
Yastremska is plus 175. Same numbers for both matches.
Yeah, I would say if you're going to take one favorite, I prefer Zhang. Have you seen what this girl's done in this tournament? And she's getting better all the time. She's actually one of the up-and-comers, and she's fantastic, Gabe. Let's talk. We'll give credit to the competitor in this match, but she was playing on court 17 and got on a heater. And I know momentum is dangerous. We talk about it in all sports, but this girl Zhang, honest to God, I've already bet her. I bet her on the spreads, and I've been riding Coco Gauff. I think she's fantastic, but Sabalenka is just a little bit better. I think if you parlay both favorites, we can come to a number. I don't like to play that game, but that's what I'm doing. Zhang is the favorite I like more, though.
I think the big difference here with Sabalenka, and Sabalenka is very polarizing, but she's got steel, iron nerves, this girl. She's been through a lot as far as the media doesn't like her, the fans, she gets, you know what I mean? She's Russian and this and that. But she's been through a lot, so she's pretty tough. And she got rattled in America at the U.S. Open. Everyone was behind Coco Gauff and stuff. It's a little bit different. I think this is a good revenge spot here for Sabalenka. And I do agree with Cam as far as Zhang is concerned as well. And it's going to turn into plus money here as well. Let's see what should probably be plus 130 or something like that if you parlay to both of them. Here, let me get this parlay up and running here.
A little bit under that, but it's plus, yeah.
And you can get into the handicap of this stuff as well. So the two favorites together tonight, no, it's plus 108. And Sabalenka is minus 3.5 as far as the handicap is concerned against Gauff. I've been doing okay with this stuff. I've been betting the totals. I haven't really been betting too many sides in the Australian Open. It's so difficult to predict who's going to win these matches, but I've been pretty good with some of the totals. So before we're out of here, I'll hammer down a couple of picks. So, Babano, you're liking points in the San Francisco game. Sounds like you think the Lions can hang around with San Francisco. What about Baltimore and Kansas City?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm stubborn, if I'm an idiot, maybe both doing this, but obviously Kansas City last week, they got the job done, and I know with that win against Buffalo, they're now 9-1-1. Mahomes, I should say, is 9-1-1 ATS as an underdog, and I understand that. That's a tough track record to go against, and I lost going against that track record last week. But I'm going to take Baltimore here. I'm saddling up with the Ravens. I think just top to bottom, this team is just all around an excellent football team. I think defensively, look, they're an elite defense right now with the way they're playing. They're a healthier defense than anything we saw out of Buffalo last week. And I think the Kansas City Chiefs now doing it twice in a row on the road, 2 weeks in a row on the road. And I think this is the week where that Baltimore bye week comes into effect, where the rest, really, and they're going to be fresh. I think they're going to be ready. And I know it's scary with Mahomes reconnecting with Travis Kelce last week, because that was the best game their offense has had in weeks, with Kelce making plays. They ran the ball well. Mahomes was making plays in the passing game too. The offensive line played as well as I think they've played all season. They've had holding penalties. They've had so many issues, that O-line at times, but I thought they played great against Buffalo. Now, like I said, a product of that to me was Buffalo's defense was just, they hit the wall. They're depleted. They were just short-handed, and it finally caught up to them. It's not going to be the case here going up against this Baltimore Ravens team. I get the track record of Mahomes as an underdog. It's spectacular. It's very difficult to go against that. But I'm going to think it's Lamar's time now. I think he's got the better team around him for this game against Kansas City on Sunday. I'm going to lay the small number here with the Baltimore Ravens to get it done.
It's amazing. As I stated, nobody outside of Kansas City wants to bet on the Kansas City Chiefs in this game, despite the fact Mahomes just keeps finding a way to get it done over and over and over and over again as an underdog. Good take by you, though, Babano. I agree with something you said there. as far as, and people wonder, well, the bye week. Well, they already had the bye week, but I sort of think the same thing for San Francisco. Look, last week I got lucky. Well, not lucky because I was a good take, but I bet on Houston plus the 3.5 in the first quarter, and I bet on Houston plus 6.5 in the first half, believing that Baltimore would be just a little bit, not in sync early and get going. You have the bye week, you haven't played in 2 weeks. And then don't forget, they rested half their starters in the last regular season game. They hadn't played a real game in 3 weeks, essentially. San Francisco, same thing. They didn't play their guys against the Rams in the last game. It's been like 3 weeks since you've dialed it up, and then you got these guys who just played a wild card game last week that are all fired up. And it takes about 20 minutes of football time before it's like, oh, yeah, by the way, you're not as good as us, even though, we're not as free, And now that we're awake, we're going to win. And you see that. And I feel the same way about San Francisco. I think San Francisco will be better this week, and I think Baltimore will be better this week than they were last week, actually. Both of them. Because they'll be more rested than their opponent and more in a rhythm now, too, Cam.
I think what you said was very important. Kansas City had players dropping like flies at the end of the Bills game. People don't realize, like, they were good. It was like, oh, he's hurt. Talk about the Bills injuries. Gabe, you mentioned it. And they're very important players, too. William Gay, I keep on mentioning this. This guy's the key. He's a spy. He's in it's a very, very significant injury. And Baltimore cannot afford to get down to Kansas City and give this team momentum and let these guys go, oh, here we go again. It's Patrick Mahomes and the Kelsey show. That's the whole thing. And we talked about the physicality of the Ravens. They hit you and they hurt you. There's going to be Kansas City players just laying on the deck. Get up. You want some more? That's the whole thing. I think Lamar can run. I think Andrews, even if he comes back, he could be a decoy for Likely. It doesn't matter. And you know what, Gabe? Beckham steps up in big games. All their guys. I just like Baltimore. I think they got more weapons, and I think that defense, all they got to do without getting penalties is hit Patrick Mahomes every single time. If they get pressure on him, Kansas City's done. They're toast. Let's go Ravens.
Not to mention the Super Bowl logo colors, as we stated, San Francisco, Baltimore. San Francisco, Baltimore, and the CTV News Network that already had, hey, Super Bowl Sunday, tune in for San Francisco and Post Malone and the Baltimore Ravens. And everyone else. They already had the lineup already ready to go. So, oh, my God. Oh, wow.
Buffalo just did it. They just took the lead.
Yeah, Buffalo is up 4-3 on the LA Kings.
Okay. Predictions? For Kings, guys, what's happening here? Who?
I don't think they're coming back.
I'm not sure.
I don't
either.
trust them to come back right now. Do you?
They're deflated.
They're plus 240 on the money line right now.
It's eroded big time. It's eroded. I mean, that's the foundation of the Kings the last couple of years.
Yeah, and they never score, and now they score 3 goals in 2 periods, but they've given up 4 goals. That's when they're just in a bad spot. Whatever they do just is not working.
Cam Talbot's not playing as well. Cam Talbot's
in net
tonight.
It's Gabe's favorite goalie, Red Light Riddich. And when he plays well, it's big save Dave. Oh, it's Talbot tonight.
Tonight's Talbot. Riddich was the other night against the Sharks.
Riddick was the San Jose game, yep.
Kings have major goaltending problems. That's...
Well, they didn't early in the year because Talbot was playing awesome early in the year, but not so much the last few weeks.
They worked them hard. Yeah.
This will be a bad loss for them. If they lose, they go back to back, losing to the Sharks and Sabres on home ice. That's not.
With Seattle winning and LA losing tonight, Seattle's 2 points away from knocking LA right out of the playoffs right now. LA's only 2 points up on the teams outside the playoffs right now after tonight. If they lose, they're not assured of anything anymore. We're talking about them winning the division a month ago.
People talking about winning the Stanley Cup. This team.
Do you like the under in the Baltimore game and the over in the San Francisco game? That's where I'm kind of leaning that way now, but things can change. But I think the defensive
both overs.
You like both overs?
Both overs. Okay. No.
Wow.
Dude, what is it? 44.5 now?
Yeah, it's
still.
Low.
What's the buzz?
That's a little low though for that. I mean,
Babano, 24-21 gets me there, bro. Anytime 24-21 gets me there, I'm interested, Cam.
I understand.
Especially when you have Lamar and Patrick as your 2 quarterbacks there.
Dude, guys, the total of the Bills game was the same thing. 44.5, 45, ended up going up 45.5, whatever, 46. We got to 51, all right? People, the weather in Buffalo. Okay, you have Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes. Like, and now you got Lamar Jackson. Like, you know what I mean? You think like they're scoring 10 points only? Lamar's going to be taken off every chance he gets. I like the over. I don't think it sails over, but
that is the prop in that Kansas City Baltimore game. Lamar over rushing yards, 100%.
Let me say this quickly too. I like it on a tease, Cam, too, to the over, like, because as I said earlier, it wouldn't shock me if Baltimore won this game 24-17 or something like that. And that's only 41. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 24-16, something like that. So I agree with you. I think the teaser will middle on both sides. And people say, oh, don't cross it over, whatever. And if you like Baltimore, 3.5 becomes 3.5. Oh, yeah. For all those people that talk about their 7-point teasers and whatever, good luck with your bet with San Francisco last week as you lose by the hook. Juice is only a problem when you lose, right? So why would you
even Buffalo, you were getting 4.5 and it came into play with a 7 point. People don't cross over a 2.5-point favorite on a 7-point teaser. Yeah, well, you know what? You won if you did. And the same thing. Like, if Baltimore loses, KC will escape with some last-second field goal like they always do or something. So
yes, I agree.
For me, a 10-point teaser is a good play here as well.
God, you didn't bet it.
Buffalo. Wow.
I told you the Kings aren't coming back.
You're on a back-to-back on the road. They got embarrassed by Anaheim last night, this same Buffalo team.
I just can't.
Really?
I don't know why I put the Kings in the parlay.
This is what the Sabres do, though. They're erratic. Yeah. Like, one night they suck, the next night they're good, then they suck, and then they're suck, and then they're good. Like, they're all over the place, the Sabres.
City of Buffalo, like they're
pretty good, actually. The Sabres are bouncing back after they suck.
They are.
They're good off the rush, yeah.
What have I ever
but then
done
they'll
to the
suck
city
again
of Buffalo?
after.
Other than to help your economics with me at the casino. Holy jeez, you're killing me. Oh, my God.
This game doesn't make up for the Bills' loss in Buffalo. People, it's okay. The Sabres are beating the Kings tonight. Everything's all right.
Yeah. It's not okay. It's not okay. Not okay.
So, wow, 5-3. We talked about the Kings earlier in the week. Everybody that tuned in, I told you, man, it's a team that's just going in a bad spot right now. They can't buy a break. All right. We got about a minute with you here, Babano, on the way out. Oh, actually, we got a full slate of hockey tomorrow. Boston Bruins are in Ottawa against the Senators. This is the game I want to get to. We'll get Babano's best bet. Get one hockey pick for us ready, Babano, on the way out in the 3-minute warning. But tomorrow night, guys, Patrick Roy, New York Islanders. Patrick Roy returns to Montreal, which is always an adventure. A hero to some in Montreal. Him and a Canadian organization don't really get along. It'll be a massive game for him because he always wanted to be the coach of the Canadians, and the Canadians never wanted him to be the coach of them, even though he's like a legend for them. So this is going to be big. The Islander players are going to be fired up to try to get in Patrick Roy's good graces by winning this game for him. And then you're going to have the Montreal Canadiens that are going to know the stakes of this game. Who are you leaning with, Cam? Islanders or Canadians?
Islanders.
The Patrick Roy effect.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Some refer to him as a game manager, Mark. I mean, throwing for over 250 yards in divisional round, 39 attempts. I don't know if that really chalks up to being a game manager. He was kind of throwing it around with 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Pretty efficient.
Whatever we saw from Jared Goff in 2 home playoff games, I would expect something dynamically different from what we're going to see from him on the road. That's just the way it's been his entire career. His home road splits have always been pretty dynamic.
Football Full Circle, only on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network.
We'll look at the Heisman Trophy
The early line.
and what it all means. Individual success.
You should have tried to get something for Anthony Rendon. Not bought at the deadline.
Newswire.
We're getting a lot of news, trades, cuts, and some movement in terms of starting quarterbacks,
Pharrell,
backup quarterbacks.
coast to coast.
I want to watch great players make buckets and win games.
Game time
You have
decisions.
no idea what the heck the Blazers are doing and what they
In-game live.
Just
Prime
took 'em
time.
yard for a grand slam.
The bottom of the 4th inning in a 12-2 baseball game. We got football scores going on at Wrigley right now.
SportsRage
That was
late
better.
night.
We waited for 1.5. We got paid
We did.
information. Didn't like the 2.5. Jumped on
There's
it.
no taking weeks off in golf betting ever. These are the best weeks to bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, we're in a 3-minute warning here. I'm going to do a quick bat pack. If you follow me on X, Twitter X, I tweeted out the same game parlay, but I gave it to you guys at the start of the show as well, in which I said SGA 25 or more, 5 or more rebounds. Wembanyama was 22.5 points tonight, his player prop. Wembanyama gets to 24 when it's all said and done. So we miss out on the plus 275, but we hammered the Victor Wembanyama prop, and he's going to win Rookie of the Year. He's going to start to pull away right now. For the record, Chet Holmgren had 17 points tonight. So Patrick Waugh back in the NHL. Montreal Canadian legend. Islanders going to Montreal tomorrow. Babano, what's your pick in that game, or do you like another NHL game tomorrow night?
I'm with what Cam said before the break. I like the Islanders there. I know they lost their second game with Patrick Waugh behind the bench against Vegas the other night, but I think they bounced back here. You know, Patrick Waugh wants to beat Montreal. Montreal's not playing well right now. I mean, Ottawa beat them last week. It was supposed to be a good revenge situation, and they got beaten badly by Ottawa the other night. So they're struggling. I think the Islanders get it.
You know what? The Ottawa thing with Montreal, though, I wouldn't say Montreal is struggling. They couldn't beat Ottawa. Ottawa beaten them 8 straight times now for whatever reason. Yeah. It's just it's out of control. It's 8 in a row. The Senators have beat the Canadians. It's going on 3 years. I don't know what the hell is up with that, but it is what it is. Cam, what's your best overnight bet for us?
I'm with Babano with Islanders, but guys, let's take a look at the Detroit Red Wings laying a quarter against the Philadelphia Flyers with the Carter Hart situation and stuff. Yep. Detroit has become a very good hockey team, so the price almost seems pretty good, too good, Gabe. But I'll lay a quarter with the Red Wings.
Yeah, I like it. I have a personal vendetta against the Red Wings after they sucked against the Dallas Stars the other night. maybe they'll bounce back, but yes, true, I can't. They have been playing well. They have been playing well.
Anyone going to lay minus 600 with Edmonton tomorrow night?
No, thanks.
No. Puck line. Give me the 2 favorites in tennis, Zhang and Sabalenka. Other night, you're on your own later.